ITV, certainly the best.
aṣáájú ọba àtọ́pẹ́. Oṣòdì aṣáájú ọba àtọ́pẹ́. Àyàbá aṣáájú ọba àtọ́pẹ́. Àlàyé aṣáájú ọba àtọ́pẹ́. Ẹgbẹ̀túwà.
láti wá o káyán rẹ̀ kẹrù lẹ́rọ ọ̀rọ̀ àkọ́kọ́ balẹ̀dọ̀. ẹgbọ́n akẹ́bí rẹ̀ láti wá o káyán rẹ̀ kẹrù lẹ́rọ.
Ọmọ nọmba Nedo Ukwu Akpolokpolo Ewai II, Oba of Benin, performing during the 2025 Ododua Festival. Ododua Festival is unique as it was organized in honor of Ioba Omoni Hwoyeme, Ioba Ewai II, as part of activities for her burial rites. The rich traditions and cultural heritage of the Benin Kingdom was showcased when His Royal Majesty Ewai II engaged the floor to perform during Uge Ododua in the palace ground in Benin City. In the dance performance, the Ogbelaka Royal Drummers supplied the needed impetus and rhythm for the dance. However, tributes are paid by the head of Benin deities to the monarch, who was the cynosure at the event. The event can best be imagined as the spiritual rejuvenation, stunned, spectaculars and guests at the colorful ceremony. 7 masquerades representing 7 spirits and deities conveyed different meaning in company with the head of the deities of Benin, with the Oba of Benin, who exhibited a grand cultural dexterity in his dance steps.
some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Yari yari, Ọba Tope.
The Oba of Benin added a colorful mood to the year's celebration as he walks round the city center amidst cheers.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Hello and welcome to WIC, Women in Conversation. This is where women sit together to discuss things that are happening amongst us, especially the women. Do we talk about men? Yes, we do sometimes, when it is very, very necessary, especially when we're talking about marriage, talking about DNA and all that. But this is a room for women where we discuss, where we'll laugh, where we'll chit-chat, as you might call it. Anyway, it's a new episode, new production, and I am saying Happy New Year to you viewers. It's been a while, so we say Happy New Year and thank God we made it to 2026. Anyways, like as usual, I don't do this alone. I have my pretty women, my guests, always here to analyze some of the topics that we'll be discussing today. And on my right, I have Princess Edith Madejemo, who is a household name. She is the CEO Golden Touch Collection. Edith.
Good morning, Happy New Year, and thanks for having me.
Happy New Year, and welcome as usual. And to my left, we have Ayo. The thing about Ayo, let me talk about Ayo before introducing her. I have been pursuing Ayo to join us on WIC because she has a lot to talk about. She has a lot to educate us on. But of course, Ayo is a very busy person. Thank God she made it through to us today. She is Ayo Ali Balogun. Ayo Ali Balogun is a management consultant. Ayo, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You also pretty. I told you behind the camera, I like your earrings, so I'm going to take it. Anyway, thank you for joining us again. And let's just go straight to today's discussion. Ladies, it's been a problem, mothers, especially these young mothers these days, they shy away from discussing the adult talks with their daughter. And so the question is, when is the right time to start the discussion with your daughter on adult talks? I know you understand what I mean when I say adult talks. Princess, let me start with
you. I'm actually on that table right now.
Wow.
And at times it gives me goosebumps when I'm talking about it. But what do we have to talk about it? As an intentional parent, you just have to be open to some extent. I don't think there is a perfect time for it, in as much as you watch your child or your girl child growing from 7 years, you can start at least educating her about herself. Then thereafter, from 10 years, I think you can start introducing some talk to her. Especially, I have this topic I introduced to myself and my daughter, mom and daughter night. We used to do it every Friday or Saturday night. At times, once or twice in a month, we do it. And that is the time we talk.
How old is your daughter, if I might ask?
She's almost 10. She's 9, going to 10. So we have mom and daughter nights, and at times, these nights are the nights we talk. At times, she will jot some things down about me that she want to tell me. Or about me, because I used to tell her, what do I do that you don't like? We parents, we can be somehow at times. So, and she will put it down. She's looking forward to that mother and daughter night that she'll tell me, Mommy, you used to do this and I don't like it. It makes me sad. As those points that she pointed out to me that makes her sad, I have to look into it. At times give her excuse. Then that is the time I have to talk to her about this adult talk. It's never too late when you start from 8, because you don't know where they go. You can't be with them all through. They go to church, they go to children party, you may be there. They go to school, you may be there with them at that children party, but you won't be playing with them. Maybe you just sit at the corner where the parents sit, and they will mingle with their friends. They go to school. You don't know what the other parents are teaching their children. And some of these things come from school. Do you understand? So I would say from 8 years, because from 8 years, an 8-year-old girl child should understand what you are talking about. We're able to get the message. You understand? So I would say from 8 years, you start telling them their body and how to associate with the opposite sex.
Okay. Thank you, Princess. Now, Princess had said from 8 years, but some mothers will tell you 8 years child, is a baby. I'm still, bathing for her and all that. I don't want to start talking to her about the adult talk at 8 years. Do you agree with her, or what exact time do you think is the right time for one to start discussing adult talk with the children? Let me remind you that some children, like you said, at 8 years are fully blown with everything. Everything. When I mean everything, I have seen a lot of things. So when do you think is the right time to start talking?
So personally, I think much earlier.
Okay. Earlier than 7?
Earlier than 7. And I must mention this. I don't know if you remember this lady, Auntie Jessica Obioma. She used to be there. And she told me many years ago and said, have you educated your daughter on her body and private? My daughter was 4 years at that time.
Wow.
I thought, strange. She said, no.
She's a child, because you still have some children wearing Pampers at 4.
Right. So I remember visiting her and she said, no, you tell her, here, if anybody touch you, no. Because abuse, someone who, who is looking for a prey would not leave children under 8. As long as a child begins to, the cognitive, develops and the child can assimilate, you understand, you begin to, in the language that the child would understand, you get. Even when they're playing, nobody touch you here, don't, like that. Break it beat by beat. You'd be surprised that by age 8, like you said, a lot of children, I know when I was much younger, a girl had started her monthly period at the age of 8.
Wow.
So you can imagine such a girl. Of course, she has womanly body and everything. Now, what do you think would happen if that child hadn't been well groomed?
Okay, that's it.
You understand? Now you also have some children are very adventurous. They're curious. There's so many things online today that they see and they want to explore. You see young children, I query a lot of the Nigerian movies where, they're very explicit when it comes to trying to describe adult scenes. And I think the Census Board should look into that. I think it's just too much for me. So I think the earlier, as soon as a child can recognize and assimilate, 8, 2, 3, nobody touch you here, okay? Anybody touch you there, you tell mommy. Because it starts a predator starts to groom a child. I say, if you tell your mommy, I'll beat you. If I tell your mommy, I kill you. I'll kill your mommy. You understand? So you want to start building the confidence of that child as early as possible. And I love what you do, Princess, with your daughter, the mother and daughter. I wish, I had
talk.
The mom, yes. I wish I knew that when my child was that age. But I think that's brilliant. And I'm going to propagate it. It's brilliant. And I love the fact that you are encouraging her to pen down her thoughts about your actions.
You, yeah.
I remember once my daughter said to me, I was like, tell me. And she was like, no, I don't want to tell you. Because if I tell you now, when you're angry, you will say it.
Oh, shit. I know how you feel that.
I know.
And it never left me. It never left me.
Okay, so let's come to that. What did you think you did wrong that made her to, get to that extent of saying, if I tell you this, the day you're angry, you bring it up to use it against me. Where did you go wrong in this?
So, with parenthood, nobody has a manual. So you come up, and then life has a way of, forming you. And you, the kind of person you are, determines. So this is me, who is a go-getter. And then my daughter, at that time, was a very quiet introvert. You could hardly hear her. So, I become very exasperated. I told her.
Because you're not acting like me.
Like me.
Why are you this quiet?
And guess what?
Yes, firebrand now.
firebrand.
She was just forming. She was just
forming.
yeah. She was
No,
forming.
well, that's language forming. No, I don't think she was forming. She was watching you.
Yeah, no. So
No,
when she
that was
forming,
her forming stage. Her forming stage in life.
molding,
Yes,
okay,
was
yeah.
molding.
Okay.
That's what I
Yes,
mean by
yes,
that.
okay.
See, it comes in. Sorry, darling.
Yes.
It comes in different way. Like your daughter said, if I tell you what you do now, if I tell you what's happening, you will use it against me.
Yes.
I just imagine how you feel. It has happened to me actually. My own was smacking. So like you did something, I'll smack you. So there was something happened in school and she didn't tell me. I get to know, I think the third day or the other day, and I queried her. She said, I said, you told me everything. Because I made it a point of duty that when I come to pick her, right from the car, we're already discussing.
How did the day go?
Even if I'm on call, once I drop that call, start telling me, start talking. Don't wait for me to ask you. We started it when she was a little. So start telling me what, the things I couldn't enjoy when I was growing. I want my daughter to enjoy it. I learned, I enroll in all these different platforms, just to learn how to be a better mother, a better parent. I do. So I ask, I say, once I drop my phone, anything you think you should tell me, start talking. Don't wait for me anymore to start asking you. So I got to know 3 days after, and I asked her, why didn't you tell me? She was mute. For some time, I was like, am I talking to you? She said, yes. Did you hear what I said? She said, yes. I said, why didn't you tell me? And she said, if I tell you, you will smack me. You know, that's just as you said, it got to my brain like, so this girl can keep secret from me because I will smack her.
So how did you correct that?
Oh, so whenever she tells me things that would have made me smack her, I will not smack her. I will just hold on and correct her. That part, you know, I would have beat you. But I don't want to beat you, so you can keep telling me.
Okay.
Are you getting me? So because of after that scenario, such a thing never happened.
Ayo, I have had a young lady who came to meet me and said to me, I like the relationship you have with your daughter. I have just one daughter. I have the relationship you have with your daughter, but I do not have that relationship with my daughter. My daughter was actually very grown up at the time she was talking to me about it, but her daughter was about 7 or 9. So she doesn't have that relationship that her daughter prefers to go talk to her dad. And then most times when her daughter wants to use her undies or, you know, zipper, she goes meet her dad. Daddy, do my zipper for me. Where do you think that mother went wrong for the daughter to have stayed away from her and rather talk with the father?
All right, so a lot of women, you know, query, oh, my children prefer the father, or that this.
I don't see anything wrong
I don't
about
see
it.
anything wrong with that. And I think, you know, the father also has a right to enjoy special bond
with the
daughter and with the son. So, you know, we can't tell, even as adults, we don't choose who to love or who we fall in love with romantically. And now when it comes to bonding, you know, there's this special thing that it just happens. I don't think the mother went wrong, and I don't think she should beat herself over it. She should leverage on the father and daughter relationship to get, you know, her own space, which is, you know, complements that relationship, encourage the relationship, and the girl would begin to trust her enough to say, oh, mommy's chill with this, and bring her in. I want to have her as the third man in that relationship instead of trying to, you know, form her own and by breaking it. I don't think so. I think the father has a right to have a special bond with his daughter, and I don't think the mother went wrong. And she should just leverage on the special father and daughter relationship, which I love, you know, and promote it, encourage them, and they would naturally drag her along. I think.
Fantastic. They will naturally drag. I just hope she's listening, because she was very worried. She came and then she was complaining. My daughter doesn't have this bond you have with your daughter. But I built that bond with my daughter.
It's not a one-day thing.
It wasn't a one-day thing.
Absolutely.
Just like she said, I started this mother-daughter talk. I made her to know that she has to tell me everything. She's free to discuss anything with me. And then we became very close, you know. In fact, Don't worry. You
Up
see the
till
two of
now.
us, you think we're friends. Yeah, she's very grown now. Anyway, let's go on a short break. We will be right back to continue this discussion. It's WIC. Welcome back. It's WIC, Women in Conversation, and we're still here. I still have Edith in the house, and then Ayo Ali Balogun is still here. We were talking about the right time to discuss adult issues with your girl child. But anyway, everybody here has said their own how to handle it and how to go about it. I just hope you viewers out there listened and learned from these two women here. So we're going to be moving on, still on the girl child. Yes, a lot of people will say is a boy child not a child. The boy child is also molested. Okay, it's not just the girl child, but it is very common with the girl child. We have seen very recently where we see 11-year-old girls being pregnant. We see the pictures and videos everywhere, and it's beginning to become a thing of concern. So that is why I chose for us to discuss this today. A boy child is also very, very molested, just like a female child. But let's move on to the girl child. Still on the girl child, dating. When is the right time for a girl child to start dating?
Right. Sorry. So before I go into that, permit me, I'm also very passionate about the boy child.
Mm-hmm.
The boy child, any child, male or female, is vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Very, very.
And must be educated.
Mm-hmm.
You have, boys child sodomized by older caregivers or people around, or also explored to adults things by the older female caregiver.
True.
So it is important, whether you have a girl child or boy child, to educate them on how to keep their private. So back on track.
Thank you for that. So back on track. When do you think is the right time for a girl child to start dating? We are concentrating on the girl child today.
Right.
We could bring in the boy child later on, but for the girl child, when is the right time for a girl child to start dating? Romantically.
Now, so when you say dating, I found that in recent times that, I think our generation would say dating is, immediately you're kissing, you're going to bed and all of that. But apparently, when you say dating, it's just you're going out for drinks, you're going out for movies. Then from the dating stage, you have the talking stage, and then so there are different stages according to the millennials and the Gen Zs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now, for the girl child, any child, especially female, who is smart enough to get into the adult space, that is the university, is open to and susceptible to things like that. Now, you can imagine a girl child, so this child goes to university at the age of 16 or 17. I think there was a law. I don't know if they reversed it now that the girl, you can't get into university in Nigeria until you're 17.
Yeah. That law just started last year, sometimes last year.
3 years ago. 3 years ago.
Was it 2 3 years
Yes,
ago?
I think yes, maybe to 2024 or early 2025. Yeah. So, but if a girl child is old enough to get into university, smart enough to get into university, and finds a guy that she finds, to be honest, all of us at some point when we were in secondary school had crush on one person or the other. Sure. But in the university, you can encourage, because most, and from experience, I'll tell you that it's actually better for them to begin to have an open mind about having, healthy relationship, not amorous relationship with opposite sex, not that early. So when we say dating, are we talking about just going on, my friend is visiting me and the works? Yeah, I think 8, 16, as long as you're in the university, I'm cool with that. But even if you're in the secondary school and, they do the dating, but they won't call it dating, they call it hangout. So we need to define clearly what we mean by dating.
And that is why I said dating romantically, not the hangouts. It's not even hangouts. We hear children say I'm going for a sleepover in my friend's house.
Oh.
Yes, a sleepover. So we're going to be touching the sleepover thing because I have a friend that has a particular issue about her daughter going for a sleepover. She also came to report that case to me. But let's go to you, Edith. Let's talk about the dating before we go to the sleepover.
To me, I won't say there's a particular age frame for dating. But like she rightly said, when a girl child is smart enough to be in the university, I think she's open for anything that comes to dating. Because in the university, you have missed people, you have people, or you have people that you crush on, that crush on you, and I think at that stage you can express yourself, and another guy also is bold enough to express themselves. Unlike when they were in the secondary school, at this stage they are very expressional, and you are open for that. Then you should prepare your child, your daughter, ahead of this stage. Although they should also prepare their mind ahead of it, that okay, now you, my daughter, you are going to the university. Mind you, are going to come across Peter, you're going to come across some men that will admire you. Admiring you doesn't mean they want to take you to bed. You can associate, you can date anybody, but not the romantic part of it. You understand?
Yes.
Not going to bed. Then while dating, communication, like you said, stage by stage, communication, going out for lunch, for dinner, at times you party. It's an agreement. From the beginning of that dating, you spell out what you want. You understand? We want to just be friends. I love you and I like you. Let's be friends until I get to 20.
Don't you think that word love is heavy for just being friends? I mean,
No. It can't be heavy. You can love somebody and still respect that person's opinion.
No, but that's actually what love is. Love is respect.
So I love you and I want to date you. You can accept to date the person. I'm not going to bed. I'm not romantically entangled.
And that's where...
Are you getting it? Then you can be there for each other. You can have lunch together. You can go to party together. And you can still remain clean. Until the time that appointed time that you said, okay, you can just reach an agreement like, I want to be 20. I want to get to 21. I want to do it when I'm a graduate.
Okay. We'll
get
come to that. Yes. Let's go to you.
It brings us back to those adult education you've been giving your child.
Thank you.
So it's cumulative. Now you now see how successful you can measure your performance by how your girl child responds to all of this. Now she has a freedom. Has she all of a sudden forgotten all the education you have given her over the years? And that is where you also don't sit back or rest on your oars as a mother. You still go on, Let the girl child be open to, exploring.
But you know that in this Gen Z age, they are actually very different, okay? Back when they get to school, all the children are coming from different homes, different upbringings, different background. What you told your daughter is not what I probably would have told my daughter. Do you know there's some parents, there's some mothers who would say, if you meet a senator, that will spoil you. Go ahead to do that.
Oh, you have parents that can encourage their children to do all sorts.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So how do you maintain that that's good upbringing, that's good conversation you have had with your daughter before going to the uni? How do you continue to maintain that so she doesn't get to be lured by a child coming from a different background?
Constant talking. I would say, like she said, you don't relax. Like you've done your part, and the rest is there, left for her to decide. You still keep talking. Keep still talking, and once in a while, talk to her, call her. You can bump into her. I like to do that once in a while. Just go to school unannounced, and you know where your child is. Like all the teaching all along, she has to put them to practice. If you have been teaching her from the age of 9, 10, and now she's free. There are some children that are free. When they see freedom, it looks as if you'll be caging them. They will just go haywire. But there are some children, even when they have that freedom, they will still be able to maintain that, character that they brought from the house. Like, okay, this is what my mom said I shouldn't do. I shouldn't be found in this company. I shouldn't be found in this company. But mind you, evil communication corrupts good manners. It does happen. It does.
So that's what I'm
there
saying. How do you that?
Even when you divide all the home training, all the training that you think you should give your child or your daughter, when they go out there, they do something else. Some children are actually two-faced. I'm sorry to say. Some children are two-faced. They come home, they are very innocent. They are very innocent. They are very decent. They are very calm and reserved. If you see them out there, if you have a picture of how your daughter behaved out there, you will be able to.
Let's take it from Edith saying some children are two-faced. How do you identify a child that is two-faced?
So, you know, by and large, all of these things, the adult talks you have with your child, you know, it's not just the adult talk you have with your child. You have other talks too. What is your value as a woman? Are you able to communicate your value as a woman to your husband, to your daughter, to your son? What is the value as a family? These are the things that you have to build over time. This family should be known to be a family of peace and integrity, accountability. It's not a function of somebody knocks and, who is that? Tell them I'm not in the house. Tell them I'm not in the house. It's the landlord has come to pay them. Your child learns not just by what you say, but by what you do. So when they now have the freedom, because over the years you have exemplified true leadership, the type of leadership that you would want to see in your child. Parents get asked, would you want your child to act the way you have acted in certain situations?
Oh, okay.
They keep mute.
They keep mute. So it borders on values.
Okay. We are going to be rounding off this episode. Just 1 minute, one word, not 1 minute, one word to mothers out there.
Train up a child in a way that he will grow. That when he grows, he will not depart from it.
Ayo.
As a mother, and as a caregiver, love. And be free to express love. Let I love you not be a once in a while thing. You may not have the opportunity tomorrow to say I love you.
Wow. We've come to the end of this episode. Actually, Edith said train up a child properly. Let me, brief it there. And Ayo says love. Learn how to love and let the love not be a one-day thing. Continuously. That's what you want there. Keep telling your daughter, I love you. Even your boy child, I love you at every minute. Anyway, it's been an amazing time out with these women. Thank you so much, Edith, for coming. And thank you, Ayo, for being here today. And it is a wrap here from us here on WIC. We'll see you next time.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
We begin the program today by looking at some of the political stories that are making headlines, just to help you have insights into the issues that are dominating discussions in the build-up to the 2027 general election. Well, you should expect that because, as they say, the average politician thinks of the next election, and they've been thinking and working towards 2027, and it's just around the corner. So what do we have? The African Democratic Congress, ADC, concluded its national convention on Tuesday in Abuja. with delegates overwhelmingly voting to amend the party's constitution. A total of 1,576 delegates were accredited, while 11 votes were voided. A total of 1,471 delegates voted yes to amend the constitution, representing 94%. The chairman of the Legal and Convention Processes Committee, Olumide Akpata, led the ratification of resolutions on key issues concerning the party at the 97th, 98th, and 99th NEC meetings. Chinedu Idigbo, the National Organizing Secretary, outlined the resolutions passed, including a waiver of membership requirements, the suspension of zoning provisions for executive positions, and the suspension of the rule requiring that a vacant office must be filled by someone from the same zone as the previous occupant. The 99th NEC meeting of the ADC dissolved. The Chief Raf also led National Working Committee, NWC, with immediate effect, while the David Mark-led NWC assumed full responsibility for running the affairs of the party. The resolution was ratified by the convention. At the convention also, the party announced the expulsion of factional chairman Nafiu Bala, and of course the member representing Yagba Federal Constituency of Kogi State in the House of Representatives, Leke Abejide. It also confirmed the expulsion of other members, including factional leader Kingsley Temitokbe, Norman Obina, Kennedy Odion, Stella Chukuma, and 4 others. The party said the affected individuals were removed over alleged anti-party activities and attempts to create confusion and instability within its ranks. Okay, elsewhere, Wike has denied allegations that he ordered the revocation of the license of Rainbow Event Center, venue of the National Convention of the African Democratic Congress, which held on April 14. He said the party should stop blaming him for its internal challenges, insisting it is already on a path to failure. The ADC had claimed that it was denied access to the same venues to hold its national convention on Tuesday by FCT authorities, and that attempts were also made to stop it from using the Rainbow Event Center where it eventually held the Congress. According to him, investigations have begun into the claims, and he has directed his chief of staff to identify any official who may have interfered. I assure you we'll get to the bottom of this, Wike said. He added that the ADC should focus on fixing its problems rather than shifting blames. The Accord Party on Friday announced its nomination fees for elective offices ahead of the 2027 general elections, warning that its electoral window will close on April 25. For the Accord Party, governorship candidates will cough out 15 million naira for the nomination and expression of interest form. And then for the senatorial, 5 million naira. And then, of course, you have to pay 2.5 million naira for expression of interest form. For the House of Representatives, it said that the nomination and expression of interest fees, 3.5 million naira and 1.5 million naira. And for House of Assembly, 1 million nomination fee and 500,000 naira for expression of interest. The National Vice Chairman of the Labour Party, meanwhile, for the Southwest, Abayomi Arabami, has declared that the party's leadership, including Abia State Governor Alex Otti, has reached a consensus to support President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. He said Abure and Governor Alex Otti have all agreed in principle that they will support President Bola Tinubu to become president again to the Southwest, not that the South. He said, adding that the arrangement was designed to allow Southwest complete its 8-year cycle of the presidency. Are we going to see more of this in the build-up to 2027? Only time will tell. And former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said he is willing to step aside for any consensus candidate that may emerge within the coalition being built around the ADC, including former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi responding to whether he would step aside in the interest of unity if a consensus candidate emerges. Atiku said the focus should be on support rather than withdrawal. For Peter Obi, he's also said that he doesn't mind jumping ship, cross-carpeting 20 times if the process for such convention or emergence of a presidential candidate is not transparent, it's not fair, and of course it's not just. Okay, we'll go back to the ADC, where the factional chairman in Edo State, Comrade Kennedy Odion, over the week suspended its national leader, Chief Odige Oyegu, and other eminent members of the party, including former Governor Professor Osereme Osumbo. The list is actually endless. And of course, we also have Christopher Ojekere joining us virtually to give perspectives on some of this development as it relates to the ATC. Chris, good morning and welcome on board the show, Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio.
This morning.
Okay, so it's a delight to have you. Now, the ADC's convention is come and gone. What would you say? Okay, what would you say are the major pullouts from that convention? We also have Bobby Obayiwana, is a lecturer and of course an advocate of good governance, also joining us. Bobby, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Chris, so I was asking now, what would you say were the major pullouts from the convention that just took place against the background of what has happened in the last few days?
Well, the convention that happened in Abuja, which I happen to have witnessed, as you might have noticed, left some influence on me by the way that I'm dressed. This is the Abuja uniform, if you may put it that way. That's on a lighter note. We were able to achieve milestones in that convention. First of all, the leadership of the David Mark-led, leadership of the ADC was reaffirmed. The National Working Committee's, leadership was ratified. We adopted the newly amended constitution of the ADC. We received the policy and manifesto document that was also approved. And then we suspended erring members of the party who have continued to toe the dictates of the APC in their failed march to destroy opposition democracy. We thought that we had tolerated them enough, and this was the time to call them out and show them out, and that we did. So those are the things. The convention has also gone to establish more important statements in Nigerian democracy and Nigerian politics. Such statements as that, as an institution that derives its power from the Constitution and from the Electoral Act, political parties must live by the laws of the land and perform their statutory duties like we have done, carrying out congresses and then finally the convention, deriving their powers from the Constitution and from the electoral laws, challenging every nefarious, antithetical activity to democracy and to institutional procedures and processes. INEC, as you know, failed in their duty woefully to come and witness a convention they had received notification about, and which notification they had signed and acknowledged after we have given them the 21 days of notice. But they failed woefully in their duty, their responsibility to explain why they have abdicated their duty for which taxpayers' money are used to pay their salaries. But we were not going to abdicate our responsibility as a political party. So we went ahead with the processes from the wards to the local government areas, to the state convention, and now to the national convention. We have properly elected party officials from the unit level to the national level into place. They are waiting until May 12th, when they will be properly inaugurated. So everybody that has been elected during this proper convention are whatever position you are elect. For instance, you are chairman of a state, you are chairman elect, waiting for the expiration of those who are currently sitting there right now, which will happen on May 12th.
Okay.
So that's
all right, Chris, let me pause it there so that we can just speed up some of the conversation. Now, heralding that convention, we saw parallel, congresses in states. In fact, some states are still immersed in all of this. I mean, take, for example, in Edo State, the Comrade Kennedy faction, as some will call it, has suspended several key leaders, including yourself. What does this mean for the party? And then, of course, you talked about the fact that INEC wasn't there to witness this convention. This is not a surprise because INEC had already warned that the convention shouldn't go ahead because some of the pending legal issues. I mean, I'd like to get your comments along those lines.
All right, first of all, let me make it very clear that when you create a context and a framework on corruption and of corruption, as the APC has done, when you create and run government and society on the parameters of corruption gets the limelight, you create a toxic situation that people with toxicity and people with toxic tendencies want to take advantage of, as the APC has created in political parties. So the APC thought they could try the same gimmick with the ADC, but it's not going to work. Now, you cannot suspend people from a party from which you have been expelled. Kennedy Odion, the former state chairman, who has our PT, was expelled from the party on the 14th of April at the National Convention. Anybody who knows anything about party politics and the organs of party and the authority it has, would know that the National Convention is the supreme authority that has powers to discipline every members. And then Kennedy, alongside others, have been expelled. Now, Kennedy that was expelled on the 14th came on the 15th to expel me. Just about 2 weeks ago, we saw Kennedy on television with a group of 4 opportunists who claimed to have been a faction of the party. And then Kennedy was made assistant secretary, national secretary, in that his renegade group. Now, how can Kennedy, who is assistant state secretary, national secretary in a renegade group, also claim to be chairman of ADC in Edo State? So it's all confusion running on the framework created by Bola Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, which is the APC's strategy to create such toxic situations. Now, the true situation is that Kennedy was expelled, as you yourself saw just now, and as everybody saw, on international television. He has no right, after expulsion, to come and say he's suspending people. He didn't give the reason for which we are suspended, apart from their usual say that we have done this.
Okay, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you in just a moment, Christopher Ojekere. Chris, I'll come back to you in just a moment. Bobby, thank you again for joining this conversation. I mean, we're talking about mobilization for 2027. I mean, against all odds, the ADC has had its convention with the leadership, the pro-tem leadership, their position have been well established by virtue of what has transpired in Abuja. But we've seen that amidst all of these, there's been some sort of crevices and cracks in the party, factionalization in the party, parallel congresses being held at the state level. What you make of all of these going to 2027? Is it also fair, in your opinion, that most leaders of the ADC, like Chris just alluded to, are pointing fingers at the APC President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
For me, it is a situation where we have a political context within a country where political stakeholders, whether the party stakeholders or the authority stakeholders or the project leaders, are respecting the own selections and population of politics, which are activities that are characterized of within the stakeholders. And for me, it is actually a testament to the fact that Nigerians have begun to have a feeling of suspicion that in more progressive stages, not around a political threat of many people have also been begun to say that even in the project and the validation exercise that was later council, it also part of the strategic mechanism to ensure that Nigeria is close to the capacity state. And this is not healthy for our democracy because the application system of government and states, that system that happens in Nigeria, silence the base of democracy, who knows the rule of law, and who understands that not a system and most importantly, a healthy and competitive system goes a long way in making leadership from having democratic society for which Nigeria cannot be an exception. So for me, the APC is very important. That is the important. And then what I trusted analysis from the speech, because it's trying to experience from the point of view to tell you that APC wants to dominate and that is what is going to go on in the APC. Some places are also going to down to see independent national election is now becoming a department of the APC ahead of 20% general election. So what I mean, and I think that we should not also forget the constitutional and legal framework and approaches to this political issue. Internal party affairs are determined by political stakeholders within the political party. It is not for INEC to decide. It is not for APC to use sectarian means to bring in personal opposition within the opposition to decide. The leadership of the APC that we know is a demand leadership. In fact, APC leadership carried out civil consultations in accordance with each party constitution and in accordance with section 83 subsection 1 to 6 of the Electoral Act. It is stated experts here that internal political party decisions are determined by the political leaders of the political party, not INEC, not APC wanting to use other subterranean means to water down the political impact of the opposition in Edo State and in Nigeria. So we are tired of this political jamboree that is being played out by political actors, especially from those that feel they are aligned to the APC while trying to claim that they are opposition. So I want to allude to what Christopher Ojekin said, that the leadership of the APC just now does not recognize the other renegade group, and that the authentic leadership in accordance with the party constitution and the tenets of the rule of law, in accordance with the Electoral Act, rests on top of the shoulders of the unattended to election in March. So it's central to principle, very simple here. And we need a healthy opposition above all. We need if our democracy must survive, if our democracy must thrive, we need a healthy opposition that can guarantee the political prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria moving forward.
Okay. Thank you, Bobby. I'll come back to you in just a moment. But Chris, if you're still there, network is a bit shaky, and that's really affecting our conversation. But it's okay. We'll make the best out of the situation. I'd like you to talk to us about the state of affairs in Edo ADC. Who is the authentic chairman of ADC? Because we also heard that there was a consensus of opinion or a consensus decision of making a certain Dr. Nosai Ahimah as the chairman of the party in Edo State, but on the side, his name was switched for Tony Alile at the national level? I mean, we've seen leaders such as Senator Roland Owe, you know, bringing forth some of these allegations. So what is the state of affairs with the Edo ADC as it is today?
All right, the true state of affairs in Edo State as it is today is that Chief Tony Alile is the chairman-elect of ADC in Edo State. That is not to say that it was Chief Tony Alile alone who contested that position. Others also contested the position. And as is the case with all political parties, there were politicking, horse trading, engagement, talks. Some of them you may refer to as consensus talks and decision within certain groups and certain class. But finally, at the climax, what leaders do is that they not synthesize all discussions from different groups and then look at the majority choice and the majority decision as it suits the party, as it will take the party forward, and as the majority wishes. As you know, politics is a game of the majority. Now, leaders will now sit down, synthesize all of that, and then that is how they came up with what we call a consensus candidate. Now, I realize that many people mistake the word consensus. It does not mean that every single person in the party must love Tony Alile for you to be able to say Tony Alile is the consensus candidate. But it will mean that majority of the people in the party have all agreed that Tony Alile should be the chairman. So he's the chairman-elect as it is today. Now, we did our internal party systems. The position was zoned to Edo South, and Edo South produced for us and to us, Tony Alile, which other senatorial district, the Edo North and the Edo Central, supported. So the position as it is today is that Chief Tony Alile is the chairman-elect. Now, those other people you mentioned their names, like respected, distinguished Senator Roland Owe and respected Honorable Mike Ehima, are not doing what I hear people say they are doing in the press. I can assure you that at the National Convention, Chief Roland Owe was there, Chief Honorable Sonny Agbebo was there, and we all had cordial relationships, and we still have cordial relationships. We are discussing with each other. Everybody is coming to terms with, what we think is best for our political party. And that will continue until you will no longer hear what you may refer to as discordant tunes. There is no faction. Everybody is still on the same table. It is still a matter of expressing your opinions about what you think has happened or what you think should happen. So that's the good thing we have achieved in ADC. Nobody is looking any other place. Nobody is looking anywhere else. So we are going to have to deal with all of that and settle all of that. Remember, the ESCO have not been inaugurated. The ESCO will be inaugurated on May 12th. Now, apart from that, there's no other problem anywhere else. There's no other issues anywhere else. The party is running smoothly. We are aligning with the national body in everything we do. And as I just told you now, distinguished Senator Owe was there, Honorable Bibi was there, all in Abuja, all of us aligning together with the party while we're having our discussions ongoing.
Thank you very much, Chris. Let me get back to you, Bobby, if you're still there. Talk to me about your concerns about the possibility of implosion in the ADC when the decision for a presidential and vice presidential candidate is going to be made as we move towards 2027, because we've also heard and seen discordant tunes from some of the top leaders, the likes of Obi saying if the process is not transparent, he's going to move on, and he doesn't mind moving, keep moving 20 times when the process is not transparent. Atiku has come out to say, well, for him, he doesn't mind staying back and supporting whoever emerges. Give me your take, with this seeming disparity in opinions and expectations for how the presidential candidates will emerge.
Okay, thank you very much. For us that belong to the court of public opinion, we are praying earnestly that the increased political actors and the leadership structure of the APC come together to carry out a free, fair, credible, and transparent primary election. Because I heard when Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, His Excellency, the former Vice President, was actually talking about consensus candidacy. Consensus candidacy may be a good idea, but may not be transparent enough to bring out the best of individuals that can represent the political faith. And many Nigerians have gone to town to say that there seems to be too many vested interests within top-notch political privilege in the APC. They are saying that Atiku may not want to allow the students get to Peter Obi. Many persons are saying on the basis of popular opinion that Peter Obi should be the best person that is fit enough for the ticket. Other persons are also saying that the likes of Rotimi Amechi and Kwankwaso, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, may want to present with Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi. So basically, we started forecasting that Amechi may want to be a running mate to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso may want to be a running mate to Peter Obi. So this political forecast, this political fears being expressed by the general public should be adequately addressed and arranged by the leadership of the APC going forward.
All right, Bobby, I'll pause you there because we'll take a break for the news headlines and we'll be back with more on politics today. Please stay. Thanks again for rejoining us on the program Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. In just a moment, our studio line will be open. We also have another panelist joining us virtually from Lagos. Bob Manuel Moru is a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. Bob, it's a delight to have you join us on the program Politics Today.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Edo people.
Fantastic. You want to comment on where we are with the PDP right now. It looks like the PDP has become the lofty bride of the judiciary, particularly what we've seen so far as the Abdulrahman Mohammed-led faction has taken over Wadata Plaza and all the structures of the PDP. And even as we speak, we know that there are still some penny issues in the days to come. Give me your take on where we are with the PDP and what are the chances of the party in 2027, because we're not hearing the party's leadership talking about a presidential candidate and all of that.
Well, thank you so much. And first, I want to debunk the assertion that the PDP is the lawful or beautiful bride of the judiciary. No. The PDP, or you said the wicked faction, as of today, there is no faction in PDP. And what we have is a party that is clothed and crowned with legalities, the tenets of our law. And having said that, I will say with all authority, all audacity, and all boldness, that the PDP is back, better, renewed, refocused, with transformational strategy. And as for the 2027 election, there is a party to watch out for, and there is a party to beat, and that party remains the People's Democratic Party. There is a difference between our party and other parties. While we maintain the organic followership of Nigerians, we also pride ourselves in the only party that is governed by its own constitution, and that any negation from that will always be be stopped, and also we use our best to refocus what we have. So as for the issues that have gone through the courts, they were issues that bordered on the constitution of the party. They were not more political than being legal. They were more legal than being political. And so every matter that passed through the court, from the court, High Court to the Court of Appeal, and now at the Supreme Court, they were not academic exercise, but they were matter that borders on the tenets of our law. And you can see that from all the judgments that were given, they all hinged upon one thing: the legality. What was the PDP constitution saying, and what is it saying, and what will it continue to say? And those were the things that came to the forefront of the issues we have in court. But as for the 2027 election, I can tell you one thing: the PDP will claim grounds. The PDP will win, and win spectacularly. We are going to win governorship, we'll win Senate, we'll win reps, we'll win House of Assembly. It's not going to be game as usual. They are going to be game of wits and guts. What I cannot fully say, because we are just coming out from crisis, and we are just coming with a renewed strength, with a renewed transformational strategy, is that we perhaps, because of the fragmentation that greeted the party, by that fragmentation I mean that we have fragmented across different factions, I will not be able to boast or fully say that we are going to win the presidential election. But I can say with all authority that from Edo State, let's say from Abia to Zamfara, it's not going to be game as usual. It's not going to be the game you have seen in the past 1 year. It's going to be a new system. And I can tell you authoritatively today that you can write down this date, that PDP will come out strong, and we are going to beat the records that you have you say.
All right, Bob, just give me your this projection that you are making. How realistically possible are they, against the background that many key figures in the party, they moved on to join the ADC, and recently we saw an engagement between the governor of Oyo State and other leaders of the party, having an engagement and interactions with the likes of ADC chieftains Atiku Abubakar, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, and all of that. And all the likes of Wike could say is that it is wrong for them to be having such alignment. So there's that chance that this faction of the party you say doesn't exist may just be realigning with the ADC for the possibility of working together. So what are the chances of the PDP in all of these, with all the defection that has enveloped the party both at the state and the national level in recent times?
Thank you. What they don't know and what we know that we want Nigerians to know and always bear witness to is the fact that I have said it over and over again, and I'm saying it again. The People Democratic Party is not owned by a section of people. It's not owned by an individual. It's not owned by any tribe. It is the party of the people. It remains the only party in Nigeria and Africa and the world that the common man dictates everything that happens with the electoral fortune of PDP. PDP is not owned by us. It's not owned by any of the leaders you are seeing today. It's owned by the people. And that's why we say the People Democratic Party. And over time, from 1998 that it was founded, it has evolved, and all notable evolution that has taken place within the ranks of the party were carried out by the people. So it is not for most of the big names you are mentioning today, who were there prior to 1999. It was the people that raised them from dust to grave. The same people who did that are still alive today, the masses. So when you said Kwankwaso left, without Kwankwaso, Kanu was one. Without Atiku, Temawa was one. Many of these persons were playing. There was Atiku when PDP lost the 2019 election. It wasn't PDP. Where were all these persons? They were in PDP. They were big names. So it's dynamics. It is not about them. And I'll give you the issue of Edo State. Can you now mention people going to ADC and all the rest of it? Who are the people that left PDP in Edo State to APC or Edo State? These were political lightweights with big names. These were men who struggled to win their votes and their units. These were men that, without the backing of the masses, They are nowhere to be found. And I will give you another point that will make you understand that PDP is not for a group of persons. That's why we said the rules of the PDP is the final habitat in anything we are doing. I'll give you the Eba Kota movement of 2023. It was not just for Central. It sprang up across the 3 senatorial districts where we said no to third head. And we stayed. The people believed in that ideology. That no, if you have tried for XYZ, you move. Now, going to the people who have gone to ADC, let us be clear about one thing. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has been contesting the election for 33 years, since 1993. I was still in secondary school when he started contesting the election. So to say, and 33 years down the lane, he's still contesting. Now look at the period between 1999 to 2023. Who in ADC wasn't in government between the period of 1999 to 2023? What did they forget, or what did they drop at the various house, government house, or even in Abuja, in Aso Rock, that they want to go and speak so desperately? What is that policy that they want to bring on board now that they forgot to bring on board between 1999 to 2023? What were they doing? I remember one of their public dancers, one of their comedians, Dino Melaye. We met Dino Melaye in Wadata Plaza, a section of, and we told him, you people should go to the Senate and ask for electronic transmission of results, and if possible, press INEC to bring on board electronic voting. Dino Melaye and other fellow charlatans refused. They never know today we call. They never know that a day we call, that they will not be the one crying, that they will not be the one taking off the street, not be on the street again. They are now the one moving from street to street, turning themselves to emergency dancers, emergency talkers, and again being on the table to discuss the future. Now you will ask me, people that after electioneering here, they brought and go and sit in Dubai, sit in other places. What is this so particular thing that they are looking for the Nigeria economy, that they are desperate about, that they want to sink Nigeria for in 2027? I'm telling you the truth. ADC, as it is today, except another superior judgment from the Supreme Court, ADC would not file a candidate for 2027. And you can see, they are running up and down, discussing with Turaki, who is already on a missing lane, on his political career, discussing with people who have no hearing. The same Turaki they are discussing PDP matter with. The same Turaki, a week to the convention, was begging Wike to please return him as chairman under our convention, that he was going to be at the convention and he wants to be the chairman. You doubt it? Remember, Turaki said there was no need to go to Supreme Court, that they were going to reconcile, and that was where it ended. The Bala Mohammed they are talking about, who is in political limbo now, Bala Mohammed also approached Wike and he should allow him to produce the national chairman, the national secretary of the party. And Wike said no. So when you now look at these persons, what are they desperate for? What is that change you want to bring aboard? What is that transformation you want to bring aboard that escaped your mind between 1999 to 2023? And then we are talking about Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, talking about Obi. What is the scorecard of this person? These are non-political failures.
Okay. All right. Bob Mada, thank you very much for those thoughts that you just shared. Let me link up with Chris Ojekiri. Chris is the media coordinator of the ADC in Edo State. And of course, we also have Bobby Obayowana also joining this conversation. Chris, let me get your buy-ins into some of the thoughts that Bob Manuel just expressed here, looking at the build-up to 2027. They interface that with the talks about President Bola Tinubu's performance will be a defining moment in this election. And he also described the process of emergence of the ADC, talking about President Bola Tinubu, that those who were, part and parcel of the privatization process in Nigeria, they have now privatized a political party called the ADC. Can I get your take on this?
Well, in my introduction, I started by telling you that when you have a president and a political party that creates a framework of corruption, it introduces toxicity which affects the younger generation. And you are seeing an epitome of that creation here. First of all, he does not even know what is PDP. He doesn't know that Wike that he's citing is APC. And you see the loudness with which he's exhibiting his ignorance. He thinks that Nigerians are fools. To see that a young man that should have a career is sitting here defending the nefarious act and the inimical act of Wike to destroy democracy that was built since 1998, to infiltrate into a political party and bifurcate it to the point to which it is. And then to begin to use derogatory terms for Turaki and the others that are trying to push for the soul of PDP, for the soul of democracy, and to speak with such loudness tells you what that kind of system can produce. But Manuel has been in the center of all the controversies. He was already Hamas' friend and boy. But we read in the papers how he went to town, castigating that young man, and so on and so forth. How such toxicity builds a party and builds democracy and gives rights to people like this, what system has been. Now, when he says those people have been in politics, he forgets that Wike has never worked in his life. He started either as, I think, councillor before he became the president and so on and so forth. One of the richest men in this country today, who has bought houses in Florida and so on and so forth. And he's casting Wike up as a model. He's casting Wike, who is a known inebriate, who has supported everybody in this country and quarreled with everybody in this country as a model. So when you see people like Wike as model, you can just imagine the degree of toxicity that we are brought into our life. We're talking about serious matters here. The PDP was the most organized party in this country until Wike started his work after he has lost out to become the vice presidential candidate. And that is still what is going on. That's what they thought they could try with the ADC. The ADC is an assemblage of men of experience and integrity. Men who have seen it all and have decided that we're not going to hold our arms and watch APC transform this country to a one-party state. Is he not ashamed to speak so glowingly about the PDP and yet it's not sure they can produce a presidential candidate? Don't Nigerians know why you don't want to produce a presidential candidate? Is it not because you work for Tinubu? Is Tinubu not your presidential candidate? Can you look at the screen here and tell us that Tinubu is not your presidential candidate that you are holding the space for? If you have such an organized party as you speak of that your faction, you should be giving us a presidential candidate to solve the problems. Okay. And you sit there, you are criticizing those who are looking for solutions.
All right, Chris, let me proceed because we don't have much time. We need to open our studio line so we can get more perspectives on the conversation so far. Bobby, I'm sure you want to make a comment on this conversation.
Yes, of course. Please, let me say that Nigerians are not, they don't care about any party. Nigerians are going to be concerned about character, capacity, and competence of candidates that are willing to serve this country. Whether you are from PDP, ADC, Labour Party, NDC, APC, you must have the interest of Nigerians first. Because this issue of defending one political party, defending one political interest, defending some certain interest is no longer the solution to the problem of Nigeria. If Peter Obi will bring solution to us, Nigerians will support him. If Atiku is willing to do the right thing and not dollarize the political process ahead of 2027, Nigerians will support him. If any other person that has the interest of this country is willing to save Nigerians from insecurity, poor economy, bad reputation in the international community, multidimensional level of poverty, hunger, starvation, frustration, retrogression, depression, and all forms of negativity, we will support the person and not political party. That should be clear to each and everybody watching this interview right now, because Nigerians are tired of hearing political parties, political speeches, political statements, political promises, and defense of certain political interests that have consistently proven not to align with the majority's interests from this part. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Bobby. I know Bob Manuel Umoro is still there. Bob, I'd like to get your reaction to these issues that have been canvassed in reaction to what you said quickly before we open our studio line.
Thank you. For Mr. Chris, I was just laughing when he was talking. But I think from his statement, before I enlighten him, he has been able to say that the ADC is an assemblage. Assemblage of what? Assemblage of deflated criminals. Most of the high-profile corruption cases that engulfed this nation between 1999 to 2023, most of the persons who perpetrated that dastard act are all in the ADC. You talk of the Alivotin scandal, you mentioned Atiku. You talk about the NIDP project, even his boss, Obasanjo, said Atiku was in charge, $15 billion gone down the drain. Let's not go further. What I am saying is that in leadership, one thing is common in leadership. You bring solutions to the table. As a man, you will not say because the foundation of your house is bad or is faulty or you have a leaking roof. So you abandon the house and then become a tenant somewhere else. What you do is you look for solutions. Leadership is about providing solutions to societal issues. Now you have a solution within your house. The man you are projecting, you are shouting about, the both of them. Obi had a problem in Labour Party. What did he do? He backed out. Atiku had a problem in PDP. What did he do? He ran away. And leadership is about providing solutions. And then you are done this person as unifier. A unifier that cannot ordinarily unify PDP under his nose in 2022.
Okay.
You now think that unifier...
Good morning, caller. What's your name? Bob Manuel, we'll just pause it there. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Yes, good morning. Yeah.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, ITV Worldwide.
Good morning.
My name is Solomon Ataga. The fact is very simple. Although we are in a political era where champions will talk and talk and defend their own region or their own interest, like the speech of the president a few days, hours ago, you were criticizing the article. They do this, they do that. And you cannot be able to tell Nigeria, this is the company was closed down by the article. I've revived it back now for the common citizen to enjoy. That was not being made. And the man speaking now, if you are talking of corruption, those in office today presently now, are they not so corrupt, even more than the people you people are accusing? I don't believe all the call of one activist there, that Nigeria is looking for a bad candidate that can take Nigeria out of this quagmire. Whether we like it or not, there is no accountability today. When subsidy is gone, we are still borrowing trillions. As far as concerned, this president is the highest borrowing. And those who say they need work for PDP, who is now telling the world that they may not have presidential candidates. This is where the anger, the wicked is not forgiving PDP today, that they didn't make it presidential candidates. Suddenly now, the same wicked are betting that he may not have presidential candidates. We should know, I want to know, Mr. Tony Dukukoso, what is the meaning of anti-party? I want you people to explain to me.
Okay, we'll give you that explanation in another episode of the program. Thank you. 08077770300 is our studio number. Hello, caller. Good morning. Welcome on board Politics Today. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Duke. My name is Comrade Abe. I'm calling from the name.
Comrade Abe, please go ahead.
The truth of the matter is that the current government, they are not doing anything. Look at what your man in the studio there is saying. Is it the APC? You have the innocent people now? They are all corrupt. They are all the same. Let opposition fly. Without opposition, there is no democracy.
Without the ADC, what's the other opposition that you can see without the ADC?
I don't know. Wicked now. They don't allow PDP to take their stand.
Okay.
It's working for PDP at the same time. It's working for APC as well.
Okay.
Try to disrupt PDP, which is not good.
All right. Thank you, Comrade Abe. 08077770300 is our studio number. Please call that number and let's get your take on the program Politics Today. Good morning, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning, Sir. I just told you.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. The Oracle from TGROE.
Go ahead, the Oracle.
I think I support the Dombosi. You know that we must live a life of justice, a life of wisdom. half of Kwara. Now he get down. When Buhari come on board, he took it to court. I don't forget. Atiku Abubakar, who have been jumping. Obi have taken the lead now. A country or a state who were able to give you 12 states for the first time for you to become a presidential aspirant. 12 states. Iran abandoned his people because he's not desperate to not be second name. They will keep on wallowing. They will get out. Okay, Bobby, you get my vote. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. 080-7777-0300 is the studio number. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name and where you're calling? You're live on Politics Today.
Look, Chris, there's one thing very important. There's a question I want to ask. All people are talking politicians. Nigerians are not fools. We know who want to disturb democracy. As the parties want to disturb democracy. Let me say it clearly here. Without favor, according to what I have known. We have come not to disturb democracy. They have disturbed democracy in Nigeria. This is not the way. Let us be frank to ourselves. People know what is right. Let us say what is right. One nation, one destiny. If we have that in mind, Nigeria will grow. Now, for instance, somebody make a Saraki. Saraki is a PDP. No, Saraki is a PDP today with Wike. So we should be very, very careful. This present government, they are not doing anything good for us. What we expect in 2015, then we all rush to APC for us.
Okay, our last call for today on the program before we call it a wrap. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. I'm Osawe from Benin.
Yes, go ahead, please. I'll be quick.
Yes, sir. If you look at the coalition of the ADC, they are the one that brought us into this quagmire we are now. If you look at the article who embezzles a sum of 16 billion of electricity.
Yeah, but do you have evidence to that? These are just things in the press. There's no evidence that he's been prosecuted in that regard. There are mere allegations.
There's an evidence. If you look at the Obi today now, Obi is somebody who is not consistent, and somebody will have an issue in your party, you cannot resolve it. And they are blaming Wike today. A single man, a vice president of a country, could not organize his whole party. We have the life of a former president. They have produced president about 2 or 3. They could not organize the party. But a single man, he was fighting for the interest of the South. That brought issue. That let's zone this ticket to South. He was doing the right thing.
Okay, my time is up on the program. If I have more time, I would have loved to continue with the conversation. But let's just quickly check if we have more time to continue with the conversation. We'll take a minute break. If there's no time, we'll just... Okay, so we have more time. So let's take more calls on the show. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Politics Today. You're live on Politics Today. Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah, this is JB Dennis on the line.
JB Dennis, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think that the APC have a strong opposition. They said that even the APC, I don't see them as opposition because they are big part of this government. Even the people that are going to remove Jonathan, is it not the same Atiku and Saraki and some of them who came out to protest against Jonathan? The first subsidy was a scam. Is it not them that put us into this problem we are facing today? What are they called to do? Just as the last caller said just now that all of them, Atiku, everybody is doing Wike. Wike is just a one man. When Atiku was the vice president, Ibo Mulaye was the senator. Many of them, Wike defeated all of them and left the PDP for Wike. Which other PDP do you want Ahmed to recognize? Is it the people that left the PDP now? You want Ahmed to come and recognize them? That's just my contribution.
All right, thank you, JB Dennis. Let's get back to our panelists. Bob Manuel, you were making some comments in reaction to some of the things that were said. Just anchor those points, yeah.
So, for me, it's not about wealth we feel as people. It's what is realistic for us. Like I have said it over and over again. The ADC can never be an alternative to opposition. There is only one known opposition today that has been stable from 2015 when the reins of power were taken over by the APC, and that is PDP over time. And I made mention that you cannot say you are a leader when you don't have solution to crisis, as minute as it may be or as big as it may be. The crisis that engulfed the PDP were not complex crises. They were crises that borders on interest and constitutionality. What is so big to resolve? Now here we have a desperado and we have a predator, and we have other smaller ones queuing behind, other commandos queuing behind this desperado. I understand why Mr. Chris Ojekere was trying to throw some tantrums. I understand. Prior to this time, he was a member of the PDP. They were in the inglorious days of Obaseki. These were men who were misadvising Obaseki, telling Obaseki there is no constitution, there is no this. And they have taken that same attitude, that same character, that same disposition to the NDC, a party that cannot organize ordinary congress. In Edo State, they have three factions. Across the 36 states, they have three factions. In Nigeria today, they have three factions. The same people now want to rescue this nation. How? How do you rescue someone from a problem that you created? You cannot. So when we are talking about developmental politics and we are talking about the future, ADC should step aside and let PDP combat this government. I have said the problem of the APC are problems that are genuine and are problems that we as a people want solution to. And I said this over and over again, the APC cannot provide that solution. Because why? You cannot also solve a problem you genuinely created without having the solution handy. So they across board. When it comes to security and economy, the APC government is a total failure. But the APC government is a total failure. Do we have the same men in APC who will come and solve this problem? Nigeria has always tried under the wings and capacities and control of PDP. Those who pretended the 1999 to 2023, and like I said, in the testimony of the man that presided over Nigeria from 1999 to 2007, President Olusegun Obasanjo, he has berated Atiku over and over again. Then you go to Peter Obi that they are pushing up as front line. What are his scorecard? When Peter Obi was the governor of Anambra State in 2013, 40 youths were amassed in the river. Till date, we are yet to see who did it or who was fingered in the matter up to date. Peter Obi, the same Peter Obi they are talking about now. Under Peter Obi, doctors were on strike. Under Peter Obi, Anambra became a shadow of itself. Peter Obi was handed over a template of Anambra State. How did it fare? A man that could not organize as low as local government election for the period of 8 years that he's in office, he was in office. You expect that man to bring about democratic principles? A man that has been flip-flopping on prices in the market, telling farmers to be rich, farmers to be poor, how farmers to bring goods and all that to the market. These are not persons. Or you want to entrust the future of Nigeria to an El-Rufai who was fingered by his own party in 2023 as being one of those who have concentrated insecurity that made him not to become a minister under Tinubu. Or you want to talk about Rotimi Amechi that has been in government since 1999 till 2023. The same Rotimi Amechi that said it's a poor man. Only for us now to start hearing different story. A man who said it strongly, a former governor for 8 years, former speaker, former minister back to back. Let us wake up now. You cannot create solution in a problem you created without first looking for the solution before you created the problem. So my opinion is simple. The PDP is out and out big. Now let me tell you why I said the PDP belongs. When Nigerians remember that there was a time a bag of rice goes for 7,500. They remember the PDP. They remember the time that a liter of fuel was less than 120 naira. They remember the PDP. They remember the time that transportation was not beyond 5,000 naira. If there's something of you are traveling to. They remember when air flight was affordable to even the poorest of the poor. They remember when a basket of tomato was less than 5,000 naira. They know that's the handwork of PDP. The PDP has driven this economy to the point that no matter the parties that put them in their head together, They cannot do 5% of what the PDP has done. And so we pride ourselves in being the only party that is owned, controlled, and led by the people. And that is our testimony.
All right, thank you, Bob Manuel. Chris, give me your take on this seeming talk. Bob Manuel, just hold on a second. Give me your take, Chris, on issues surrounding about the personalities that have become the arrowheads of the ADC's projection for 2027 as a major coalition platform. Yes, no doubt, we've seen people move from the PDP to join the ADC. People have moved from the APC to join the ADC. People have moved from NNPP to join the ADC. Some will call them, straight bedfellows, as they say. But how do you think the party can harmonize and, merge all of these different interests to bring us something more positive that Nigerians can relate with? I just saw in the news a few minutes back with some other aspirant, so to speak, saying Atiku should not be see himself as being superior to other aspirants in the party.
All right, let me just tell you, let me bring myself to their level and argue at their own illogicality. He spoke just now that every glory moments that Nigerians have ever had, you remember the PDP. And then he goes to the very PDP members who were the PDP at that glorious moment. Atiku Abubakar, El-Rufai, Rotimi Amechi, and then he criticizes them. Just tells you when people are speaking from both sides of their mouths, they lose their logical reasoning. The very PDP era that he's talking about, Atiku Abubakar was the head of the economic team. The very PDP that he's talking about, El-Rufai was the minister of the Capital Territory, Abuja, after he has left being the Director General of the Public Privatization Bureau that we set up. So when he spoke about the glorious moment, and then you remove the personnel that operated that glorious moment, it tells you they are just sounding off. What we have on ground now is that those personnel that gave PDP that honor, that gave PDP that glory, that gave PDP the reason why he's using PDP to boast today, are now in ADC to repeat and to improve on what they have done. The PDP is now speaking of today is the PDP man that destroyed the PDP, which is Wike. The PDP he's speaking of today is the PDP that after he has spoken so glowingly of cannot produce a presidential candidate. That's the PDP he's speaking of today. There are several factions in different states. So if he talks about the PDP, you should know that PDP is a symbol. It is the people that made up the PDP that time that are now the ADC. The privatization that led to the GSM communication, by which means you have online television now speaking to you by link. Atiku Abubakar was the head of the privatization team and led Nigeria to the GSM era that we have today, employing hundreds of thousands. The cancellation of our debt that he spoke of is that same Atiku Abubakar that was the head of economic team. Abuja Master Plan was started, enacted by El-Rufai. Rotimi Amechi was the first person that led democracy out of the doldrums. When they were going to rig the party, Rotimi Amechi used the Supreme Court to prove democracy and sustain democracy, and that's why he became governor of Rivers State. So they have all come now to assemble at the ADC to pursue the Nigerian agenda. Their presidential candidate, which is Tinubu, who is destroying Nigeria and wants to make Nigeria a one-party state, put his wicked hands into the PDP. And their anger is that why did these gentlemen leave? Why did they not wait there until PDP is frustrated and cannot produce a presidential candidate, just as they will not be able to produce now? He put his wicked hand into Labour Party. And their anger is that why did Obi leave? Why did Obi not wait there and be unable to function? These people were smarter than Tinubu and left that falling houses and falling systems for them. And they have assembled together. That's the pain. And now they think that by discrediting these people, now he spoke about people not being able to find solutions to the problem that they created. So he's going to get Israelis and Americans to come and find solutions to the problems of Nigeria that Nigerians created. It is only Nigerians who will solve the problems of Nigeria. It is only those who have experience of a problem, who have traveled the roads, that will be able to tell you where the pitfalls are. It is not a man who was given the first opportunity and he went to buy houses in Florida, whose wife is supposed to be a high court judge, and she's claiming a member of the Democratic
Hello,
Party.
good morning, caller. What's your name? Yeah, Ultimate Degree, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, my brother, for your good job. Yes, APC committee has come and gone.
Yeah.
And I tried David Mark as their leader. I don't know. It is very, very unfortunate, very sad. Some people were not able to do to organize the party. I think what happened in the APC and even PDP. And some people are being used. I'm not going to say to use to restore their party. I'm very, very sad for them. Very, very bad. And let us know what the single rule. I think it's 22nd. APC and PDP. Their passion.
Okay.
So that we know who is who.
Okay.
Who is the leaders of APC and PDP.
All right, thank you very much. We have just a few more calls to take before we call it a wrap. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name?
Yeah, good morning. This is Mr. Ben.
Yes, good morning. What's your name?
Mr. Ben. This is Mr. Ben.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Please, let me just start from the PDP angle first. Wike is a man I love so much as a day. And one of the things I've seen in him, he has took upon himself that if not me, no one is good. And that is what he has done to me to destroy the PDP. And now, when we go to the ADC, I just want to advise them. You see some people decamping coming to the ADC. I don't want to mention it. I promise you that they can pay some people like a contract to come to the ADC to destabilize them, so that they will not be able to come out with anything good.
Okay.
And what I will advise them is this.
Okay.
The ADC, we are all happy that we have an opposition formidable party. But the thing is this, among themselves, if they are not united, they will not come out anything. And what I will tell them is this. Go and do your own survey outside and know who they particularly want inside the ADC. And I will tell you the truth, it's OP. If they refuse to bring OP out as their flag bearer candidate, they will not go anywhere. I'm telling you the truth. That's just my advice for them.
All right. Thank you. 08077770300 is our studio number. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning.
Yes.
Brother.
Good morning.
Happy to join you again. You know, the truth is very bitter. Let's be frank as we here, because this is national review. The way Nigeria political system are now, anything bringing you not candidate, it's like you are dividing the heart of the Southerners.
Okay.
That's just the fact.
Okay.
And if we can point to be, and let's face, and my problem for the ruling party, tell Nigeria what you have achieved. The corruption before, how you have been able to clear corruption.
Okay.
That should be supposed to be your concern, not condemning the opposition. What have you achieved? Atiku was the head of this. He didn't let it to work. Now
all right. So our time is up. Thank you very much. I believe that's JB Dennis. Thank you very much. This is where we draw the curtains on the program Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. We want to say big thanks to our panelists. Bobby Obayuwana, thank you again for your time with us on the program. Christopher Ojekere, thank you so much. And of course, Bob Manuel Omoro, joining us virtually from Lagos. Thank you as well. And to all our listeners and all our viewers, we truly appreciate your commitment to the program. 2027 is just around the corner. Let's start asking those who are vying for position questions. Let's look at their history. Let's look at their pedigrees. Opportunities that they've had before, what exactly did they do with it? Did they use it for their personal aggrandizement? Did they use such opportunities to better the lots of the people? I'm sure when we ask these hard questions, we'll know exactly what to do to them come 2027. I'm Sonny Duke Okosun, thanking you for staying with us. Do have a great weekend ahead. Bye for now.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Beautiful people, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's another beautiful episode of Flipside on Independent Television, reaching you live from the city of Benin. Now, for starters, Flipside is a unique show, a socio-cultural show that pinpoints certain issues in the society and seeks to dissect it and, of course, bring clarity to it. It airs every Wednesday on the station. My name is Harry Aigboje. And of course, it's my pleasure to have you join me on this lovely episode of the show. Now, today, we're having a very interesting conversation, something that has to do with our ivory tower, our higher institutions, a clarion call for reforms in the ivory tower. And most of the time when we hear the term ivory tower, a lot of things come to people's minds, okay? I really don't know what comes to your mind, but you know, there's something that actually does come to my mind. But before we get right into the business of the day, let me introduce my guests on the show. I've got two erudite analysts with me. They are really not new faces. To my far left is someone who happens to be a public affairs analyst. And of course, he's also a clergyman. He goes by the name of Kingsley Ikeke. Welcome on board, sir.
It's good to be back.
It's good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
And of course, seated next to Mr. Kingsley Ikeke is my brother and my friend, a social impact commentator, the one and only Favor Sadzi. Welcome on board, bro.
Thank you once again.
It's good to see you. All right, so we're talking about the ivory tower. So, like I said in the opening, whenever you hear the term ivory tower, something does come to mind. Something comes to my mind, but I really don't know what comes to your mind. So, let's set the motion for this conversation. Mr. Kingsley, what comes to your mind when you hear the term ivory tower? Is it limited to the university, or you know, it has to do with all the institutions or higher institutions of learning?
Okay, thank you very much. I think in our part of the world is synonymous with universities.
Okay.
Because there are some rare privileges that they enjoy. And when you mention such phrase, ivory tower, it's quickly associated with the regular universities. But I want to believe that for any place of higher learning, higher impact and higher level of reasoning, they could be assigned the same status as an ivory tower.
Okay.
Because it's talking about a higher level of intelligence and a higher level of
beyond
reasoning.
the secondary level.
Yeah, above the secondary level. So you can also inculcate institutions of research, polytechnics and whatnot. As long as at that level you are getting some level of professionalism, you can.
So what makes the difference is professionalism.
You know, in this part of the world, we've been so used to the university concept.
Okay.
And even when the government brought in the polytechnic concept and some other technical vocational concept, it has not really worked because they are always seen as second fiddle
to the university.
Yeah, and it has also impacted greatly in our advancement technical-wise. We are still backward because when you talk about technical education or technological education, if you go to other part of the world, they are highly revered because that is where innovations are churned out from. That's where creativity, you know, that's where tech is really in display. Mostly what you get in the universities are people who will reason to design, or what we call maybe a design engineer, for instance. But when it comes to implementation, it is more, you know, there are some universities that are called Federal University of Technology.
Okay.
You are trying to create a division between the regular university where you go and study more of the theoretical stuff.
Theoretical part. Okay.
Then create another kind of universities where you do more of the technical stuff. Practical stuff. And you can always relate the federal technologies with the polytechnic. You see the word polytechnic means technology.
Okay.
And when you see Federal University of Tech, it means technology. When you say universities, is a general place and mostly for, you know, brain work, reasoning. When it comes to bringing those things to tangibility, It's another ball game altogether. You need those with technical know-how to bring whatever you have designed in your head. You can have a design, even as a layman.
Okay.
But you need a technical man to bring your design into reality.
Reality.
And that's where the technology comes in. University of Technology, Polytechnic. To bring those technical concepts in your mind into reality, not visual. Making them real.
Does that also entail, or should I say include, the colleges of technology?
There's colleges of education.
Okay.
Once you use the word tech, it means there's tech. That is the difference between both of them. That word tech shows there is engineering, there is science, there is not just verbal reasoning. There is implementation of what is reasoned. You are reasoning, but you cannot bring what you are reasoning to bear. So when you bring the word technology, now we have entered a whole new dimension. It's not about telling me what you know. It's doing what you are saying, beyond just saying it verbally, making it real, making it embraceable, not in the air.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley. I think that was a very good way to kickstart the conversation. Now, let me ask you, Favor, what are the reasons, or why do you think the cry for reforms in the higher institutions in the Ivory Tower has been at an all-time high lately? Because, you know, much of the conversations that we'll be having lately, you know, is the need to, should I say, step up Ivory Tower, you know, bring about the necessary reforms in our Ivory Tower. People have been saying that things are not the way they ought to be in our Ivory Tower. Now, what do you think is responsible for this outcry?
Yes, the reason is not far-fetched. For every investor, you expect to have returns for your investment. So investors here, as I want to consider it, will be both the students and the system itself. The system has invested so much in trying to inculcate in students, young people, youths, and with the hope of this knowledge to bring back value for service. But in recent times, have we really gotten value? Have we really rather gotten the service that we expect from people who are churned out of these institutions yearly, year out? The big answer is no. And that's why you notice these days that look at a handful of graduates. They actually graduate with certifications that are not usable. They're not people with utility capacity. And if you look to do a survey or do an audit of these graduates that we see today, and ask 9 out of 10 to prepare a good resume, you might be disappointed on the result you get. Now, this is just a resume. I'm not saying call the industrial engineer or call the production engineer or call the electrical engineer, unless you use an electrical
But is that the fault of the products of the system or the system itself?
It's a fault of everybody.
So we all have a share of the blame.
We all have a share in the blame. Parents, the school, and the student. They're not leaving out the government. We are all intertwined in all of this problem. And look at it critically. Parents forcing children to go do what they are not interested in. That's a problem. School, when you apply for course A, they give you course D. And because pride would want to set in and say, let the child just do it, let it just do it and go after all, not be waiting.
But don't you think that's because, you know, some students or some candidates do not qualify or do not get what they actually deserved? Some of them, you know, do not qualify for what they, you know, asked for. For example, let's say while I'm sitting for JAM, I applied for medicine and I do not get medicine. Instead, I'm given maybe botany or anything of the sort. Don't you think that's a legit reason?
That could be a legit reason. But let me also ask another question. Nigeria is going for a competition and they do not qualify for first place. Have you ever seen a situation where they compensate them with second place?
That's a funny one though.
So you go back home and prepare for the next tournament, right? So but why don't we send them back home to prepare for the next?
So you're recommending that they send them home instead of giving them a second best?
That's the best thing to do, because see the effect of compensating them with another course of study. Now, say for example, botany, like you mentioned, has the capacity to take 100, right? 100 students. Yeah. And that's what the classroom can take, or that's what the system can take as at that time. Then we have 100 persons that have been admitted duly by virtue of their first choice of application into botany. Now, you are not having a spill from those that applied for the medicine and say 50 more to add to the 100 that the capacity is supposed to take. What happens to the extra 50? You see how the process is already getting squeezed and distorted.
Clogged,
Now, this will happen in not just botany, will happen in animal and environmental science, will happen in science lab tech, will happen in microbiology, will happen in biochemistry. How many of these SSCs can the system contain and take? You see the problem? So, but if you send them home, and if students know very well that if I don't perform, I don't get it, maybe we all would actually sit up and not hope to be compensated.
Okay, so you think that will encourage them to work harder?
That's one solution to
the problem.
the many problems.
I will actually hope that you are able to address the other solutions, because it's actually a very broad subject, and as we progress in this discourse, we'll be able to touch every single aspect of it. Now, let me get back to you, Mr. Kingsley. What are the major challenges currently facing higher education or higher institutions?
I think for our country, the first major issue is corruption. And secondly, funding. You know why I say corruption, like you were trying to highlight just now. You know, even when you don't meet the minimum requirement to be admitted into maybe College of Medicine, if you have the resources or you have the connection, you can still get there.
Yes.
Connection.
Yes, and eventually the person may not have the competence to run that program effectively.
Wow.
And sometimes it's even worse when you now look at the presence of private universities. Someone who was rejected from a federal university, if he has the money, he can go with same result.
Irrespective of their mental
of his performance. He may just go an average of 50 or 50 something, thereabout, because those universities are geared towards profit making. They are not interested in just quality. They give you a minimum requirement, you have about 60 or less than that. Why University of Benin, you'll be talking about 80, 82 to enter school or college of medicine.
So there are private institutions.
Some private schools.
There are private institutions that boast of quality education and, of course, quality output.
What's the yardstick to judge quality?
You see, sometimes we admit people even with a lower minimum requirement, and they excel eventually, they pull through.
Exactly.
But once we have set a bar, we should stick by the bar.
Okay.
Your cutoff mark is independent to the universities. The cutoff mark for University of Benin is not the same with UNILAG or IFE. It's different. It's even worse off when you now come to private school. If someone is not competent to even be in pharmacy or lab science, is now giving medicine because he wants to study medicine and does not have the competence, eventually that person graduates and becomes a disaster. It's a major problem of his own, based on the issue of regulation. Then the issue of funding. And I was trying to Google, I've heard it severally, I just tried to Google to check the level of remuneration given to teaching profession, academics or lecturers. If you go to Google and try to find out what we earn compared to what other African countries earn, you pity this country. In fact, it's a disgrace. I sometimes won't use the word giant of Africa. It's a wrong terminology, because people countries as small as Botswana, Ghana, Kenya are paying their lecturers better than Nigeria. And when you look at the resources we have, the manpower we have, now if you have a teaching staff or a professor or an associate prof taking a course, and he has myriads of problems at home that needs finance, how do you expect him to concentrate or do the needful? We should also shy for the fact that there's also corruption in the system, that you can bribe your way through school. And that happens because most of the times the resources available to the academians or to the teaching staff are very minimal, barely able to meet their basic needs.
So they don't have enough motivation?
No, enough. It was even recent, this year, it was recently that they signed a new agreement which took professors' money to close to $1 million. That's about 900 and something. A counselor with a primary school certificate, not even passed, is earning better than a professor. That's your peak of learning. That's your peak of attainment as far as a teaching profession is concerned. And someone who is a counselor, not even a local government chairman, not even a commissioner, earns more than you. Then how do they expect you to give your all? In fact, they were almost going for a major strike before this agreement was struck recently. That now took the money from about 500 and something maximum to about 9 something. I don't know how to put it. You can't place it. Then when you now check with the current economic hardship It means a professor at the end of the whole year can barely put his resources together to get a bed junker. So you see now he can easily be induced, because when you make people to feel insufficient, they begin to fall to other vices. So I feel
which could also be corruption.
Yes, exactly. So there's corruption in the system. There's poor funding as far as remuneration is concerned. It's a silent strike. Most times you see strike. It's based on funding. The level of funding is bad.
We definitely will get to that part, because like I said, it's a very broad subject, and hopefully that particular part of the conversation we will touch it as we progress in this conversation. Well, if you're just joining us, it is Flipside on Independence Television, and we're discussing the clarion call for reforms in the Ivory Tower. We shall be going on this break now. The program continues afterwards. Please stay tuned.
ITV, certainly the best.
Yes, it's good to have you back. It's still Flipside on Independence Television, and we're taking a look at the clarion call for reforms in the Ivory Tower. Now, let's shift our focus to, a more important aspect of this conversation, which has to do with the university curriculum. Now, how relevant are current university curricula to today's job market? I'm directing that question to you, Favor.
I think the current curriculum is very irrelevant. It is not productive. And I'm not just saying it by virtue of speculation. I'm saying it by the standards of what we've seen. I'll posit an example for you. If you have any professional teacher as a friend, you can call him or her to ask these questions. Before, when you graduate as a teacher, and there's a professional exam you need to write. It's called the TROCN or so. And that's Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. I'm not very sure. But the purpose of the exam is to say, not until you're able to pass that exam, you're not a professional teacher. You do not have a license to teach.
Okay.
Now, see the interesting part of the examination. Nobody fails the exam. Once you take the exam, you must pass. That's one.
So you are guaranteed to pass.
You must
So
pass.
what's now the essence of the examination?
Then two. Now,
for funding.
Let's take a look at the kind of questions you see in the exam. I'm not speculating.
Okay.
When did Nigeria become a republic?
Such basic questions.
Who was the first this of Nigeria?
The first Prime Minister of Nigeria.
What is the first university in Nigeria? How many universities do we have in? Now, you look at a system, an exam that is supposed to say, oh, let me assess this person, if this person can inculcate or influence decisions.
And if they are qualified.
And the exam is asking me when did Nigeria become a republic? No critical thinking, no creativity, no thought for what not and what not. Just questions of when, on what, not how, not reasoning. Come on. And I'm supposed to be a teacher that will go back and be able to psychologically assess and influence people. It doesn't work. So at what level?
Are you saying that the examination is rigged in favor of the
it's just like he said, it's just a revenue generating. The thing is, education has been too commercialized. It's now more of business. And that's how you see when we were talking the other time about how spillage from another department will affect, because they just have to accept more students so they can generate more money or make more money. Which money, of course, is not even shown in the institution as by virtue of infrastructure.
Yes, I was actually coming to that, because do you think it's wise to just dismiss the financial angle to this conversation?
But where is the money? If we see the money, have you gone to the hostel in this university that is close to us here?
So you're saying that the money is not reflecting?
I'm not saying it. It is what it is.
Okay.
It's not what I'm saying. It is what it, have you gone to the hostel? Forget about what you see when you pass that highway, Lagos Road Highway, that light.
Yeah.
Have you gone inside the school? Have you gone to classes? Do you know where we took practical classes? Do you know the reagents that we used were outdated? So we're never reacting. We just assume numbers or figures of optical densities and just put it there. Do you know that sometimes when you're having your project done, you just go and you can lift a project work. If you can find a topic that is the same as yours, just pull it back and rebind it and submit it. The lecturer will still approve it for you. And if you want to form an oversabi student, in quote, you actually want to go and do research and bring you data and new information, you may end up not finishing that project with your mates. Because you are just giving the lecturer work to actually go and study. That's not what he knows. He already has a marking scheme. You are now challenging that marking scheme. How many lecturers can integrate AI to the field of studies they do now? I'm talking to a lecturer and I'm saying your data is exhausted, and he's telling me what's data. That is where we are. So where does the curriculum come? You are using an old playbook for a system of today. It's never going to work. Have you not seen department where the questions they've been setting for the past 10 years have still been the same? These are questions that are supposed to assess people and make them who they supposedly want to become. For a problem of today, and the problem of, the problem that we consider today in this country, is it the same as the problem we were considering 5 years ago? Is it the same problem we were considering 10 years ago? The dynamics have changed. So why have we refused to change the curriculum? You know why? It's laziness. It has always been about, as far as I can eat, feed my family, we go to church on Sunday, back home on Monday, life goes on. Nobody should change this system. Nobody should challenge the system, because it's going to create work for those people who are supposed to be custodians of the system. That is where we are.
I'm actually glad that you mentioned the laziness part. And I would like you to respond to that, Mr. Kingsley. Do you think this can be attributed to laziness, or it boils down to the same corruption factor that you made mention of earlier?
It's both, my brother. It's both. You know, they say to whom much is given, much is expected. If you are giving little, you won't put much. Because you look at the output of what you get at the end of the day. Why trouble myself? So you just bring the same old question, give it to them, let them go and do it. Why stress yourself when you are not properly remunerated? That is where the bulk of the problem lies. You know, those are internal issues, though. There are external issues. It's talking about AI, talking about innovations. First thing first, let's look at the government. Like I asked earlier, where's the power? I do a lot of work in the laboratory. Where's the power to power the machines? There are certain works that should be with power for 12 to 24 hours, non-stop. And when there's a break in, when there's an outage in power, that work is invalid. You have to start again. Who has that time and resources to invest? You know, in developed countries, outside power being steady, if a part of your utility is internet, you want to run an AI-driven institution. You want to run a tech-driven institution. And the students don't even have access to internet.
Just like
they don't have the gadgets to access the internet.
Made mention of a while ago.
Exactly. So it's a whole lot of problem, because if you're saying that we should go to the current trend of how things should be done, it means both the lecturers and the students must be properly equipped. You know, I told you I was in China last year. I went with my laptop. But you know, I didn't have to use the laptop all through my 2-week stay. I left it in the place I was staying, because the desktop I had is more than 100 times richer than the laptop I came with.
So
it had everything.
It was more or less irrelevant.
It had all the software I needed. I didn't need any marker board. I didn't need any biro to jot anything. Everything is software. You can see them there. You program your stuff. You use these 3D machines. You see the results. It's tangible. It's not just head knowledge. And there's like 247 to even access your university or the place where we stayed. They use what we call facial recognition. You don't have to have a gate man, like they just come. Once you put your face, it opens for you. He knows you are one of the persons within the campus. They've gone that far. We don't have those resources. We're talking about life. Look at Edo State. Recently, a few days ago, I heard that the Edo State House gave is it 4 months ultimatum to BDC to improve power. There's no power. What are you running? Only a very few schools, like maybe Covenant, I know that they have maybe 247 power. And they are among the front runner. Go and check the ranking. They are always among the front runner universities in Nigeria. And they fall among the first 1,000 in the world, because they've inculcated certain things. Internet facilities, power, constant power supply, which many of us in the regular schools don't have.
And these are basic necessities.
Yes. And for you to go to such schools, you need to have the financial muscles. And if you're saying, all of us should not go to private school, how many of us can pay? It means that whatever the government is doing now is grossly inadequate. I know they are doing certain things. It's still not adequate to resolve the myriads of problems that is plaguing the Ivy Tower. It's too much. What we need is a overhaul, the curriculum overhaul. We are trying to make some changes. Like I said one time I was here, in introduction of skill acquisitions, entrepreneurship concept into the curriculum. But you see, there are lots of limitations. You know, I had a friend, I was in the program at the time, he's now in the US, program in Brazil. What they do, one of the things they do is that no school of that level of learning is not attached to an industry or a company. Your school must be attached. it's a symbiotic kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Whatever their problems are, like he was saying, you know, they have current problems. They're not looking at your old curriculum. Whatever their problems are, they share with the institution of higher learning, the places of research. We're having this challenge in making this waste into a viable product. They're not pumping money in that area, and people are not going to research. They probably will not have time to sleep, but because they know there's money, they have comfort, they have light, they have all the facilities, they will be there till they're able to resolve the problem of that company. The company eventually, when the problem is resolved, becomes a profit spinner for the company. But here, you see the school existing in isolation, industries in isolation. By the time you graduate students and you are sending them to the regular world or the industry, they look as complete strangers or people who have not been trained, because there's been this disconnect between the industries or the companies with the school of learning or the ivory tower, like we earlier called
it. Do you really think it's practically possible to create a synergy between the the industry and the academic system?
Very possible. By the time I heard University of Benin came up with the sickle cell remedy for sickle cell, well, I did that brought into the light of day. They've done a lot of work on managing diabetic patients, or to a very good extent. But you see, who is partnering? If I come up with a concept that can, take care of diabetic patients, where do I have the money to establish a standard, pharmaceutical company that can make those products, make them in commercial quantity? That's another problem. Although the government, to be fair to them, if you have some concept with the help of TED Fund, you can produce them, but you cannot mass produce. So they create another avenue for you to interface with industry. But that's not how it ought to be. It ought to be from day one.
Okay.
There's a partnership with the school and with the industry. Not at the end of your research or at the end of your innovation. No. They should be part of the problem solving.
Okay.
And when the result comes out, there should be a pattern of sharing, a sharing formula, both for those who were in the research lab and for those who were funding the research.
Okay.
At the time, Bill Gates voted about $1 billion for looking for vaccine for malaria. He doesn't have malaria problem in his country, but he committed resources to find the vaccine. If that comes out, he will be in charge of the profit or whatever. He will have the commercial right or the patent right, because he is the one that is funding the process. So a lot of funding is needed when it comes to School of Higher Learning. And we have not learned that, because if you check some countries, look at Britain, look at Japan, they don't have anything. They don't have resources. We have resources, but we lack brain.
Is it
what they are selling are their intellectuals.
What do we really lack? Is it the brain or the willpower to do the needful?
Okay, let me put it two ways.
Okay.
The brain is a part of it, but mainly the leadership. You see, if you understand when you say you have resources, it's not just the mineral resources alone. In fact, your best resources are your human resources.
Human resources, yeah.
And when the human resources that are best in your country are going to other countries for greener pasture, how will your country ever develop? Because they are poorly funded, they are poorly paid. If you're doing this your work now somewhere in another country in Europe, I bet you'll be money.
Word. All right, that was a very good one. Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley. In case you're just joining us, it's Flipside on Independence Television, and we're taking a look at the clarion call for reforms in the Ivory Tower. Well, we shall be going on this break now. The program continues thereafter. Stay tuned. It's still Flipside on Independence Television, and I'd like to direct this question to you, Sadzi.
while he was analyzing the concept a while ago, he made mention of the fact that the system might need a complete overhaul. And of course, I'm sure to the average layman out there, that might mean a complete transformation, like destroying the current system and introducing a new one. Now, I would like you to throw more light on that.
I personally think, okay, talking about overhaul, it may not be to raise the buildings down and start another one. Okay. We are talking about system and curriculum overhaul. Yeah. It is not applicable. It is not applicable, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's that we are ready to change it and face the consequence, which would put everybody.
I remember you saying a while ago that it's outdated. What do you mean by that?
It's very outdated. Take for example, like I mentioned before, trying to bring questions of 2010, 2012, 2014 in 2026, where it does not even. Okay, now let's take for example. Recently in medicine or medical practice, there are a lot of things that have changed. At the point you see that the anti-malaria that was being used 5 years ago has been banned. Okay. Yeah. So imagine asking or assessing students based on the practice of or on the use of those kind of regimen
that have been banned.
That have been banned. But why do we see this happening in faculties of engineering, faculties of sciences, where the origin of these things are supposed to be? But that is just one out of many problems. Yeah. You could overhaul the system today, but I don't think it's just an overhaul problem. The overhaul that I think we should be considering here is the mindset. That mindset cuts across. It cuts across the school, it cuts across the students, it cuts across the parents, which are the foundational
and also
problem.
cuts across the curriculum
itself. That curriculum is just a product of
the
mindset of the people. They thought and said, this is what we need, right? So if they sit down today again and say, this is what we also need, it's just going to be a result of the meeting that we'll hold. But not until they have decided, not until they have even agreed that there is a problem, we'll not go anywhere. Parents are the problem, and I can prove it.
All right, Mr. Kingsley, an overhaul of the system.
Okay, the word overhaul is okay. Look at it this way. In secondary school, most times it's when you are getting towards preparing for your WAEC exam and you enter the lab.
Yes.
You just one or two practicals, that is it.
Fractional distillation.
Yes. You see, for you to be a master, there must be a high level of repeatability of a particular concept. The more you do it, the better you become. And when someone, because of WAEC, is now doing titration, you see, he's not going to deliver because he's not a master of that concept. So somehow somebody will be aided so that he can go to the next level. At certain levels, there's a certain level of technical knowledge that you should have. And because of the cost of making those things available, that's when they are consumables. The school and even government, they are reluctant. How do I put such money every year and things are used and discarded? But what you are creating is a mastery. And as people begin to go from level to level, somebody will come with a concept in that tutorial, that teaching or practical that will help minimize the costs of those consumables. But because they're not even exposed in the first instance, you see someone who has graduated from the Department of Computer Science is still yet to have access to computer. And we are still working with that same concept. And not the first time they brought computer to my school. You know what they asked us to do? So we said, we have computer course. They took us to the computer room. They said, this is the on button. We pressed the on button. It came up. Then this is the off button, office. So don't press anything again. And we left. Is that the way to train a person? You see, until we change our pattern, we'll keep having the same problem. Look at the curriculum. I did an exam, a PhD exam, admission exam some years ago. It was to do a program in Brazil. It was a scholarship program. When they were telling me read for the program, I said, what is this? Chemistry. What am I reading? There was no invigilator. There was no camera watching what I was doing. I was with my system and the question starts. I didn't see the regular chemistry questions. Things they were asking me were structures that have to do with vaccines that are very recent, to identify certain things inside those structures. It was really something I needed to have been inside to be answering. I got to a point and I was not making much progress. I was in the room when I was doing the exam. And I came to the dining room. I told my, please give me food. I'm in trouble, I'm tired. The time was already running.
Because
I now saw
the entire thing was totally alien to you.
It was alien, it was tough. No examiner.
I'm happy.
It's purely reasoning.
Wow.
And if you don't understand the concept, the answer is buried inside the puzzle.
So you have to know it. You have
to understand it. It's not just having head knowledge.
I think
to navigate your way.
And
all they were doing was not the old version chemistry.
Oh.
They were looking at chemistry as in the so-called, when you have a like you say, let me see what dogoyaro now. Yeah. It has what called quinine, for instance, and that quinine is what you use to make what chloroquine.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't be looking at the chloroquine as a synthetic drug, and you'll be identifying certain things in the structure, because when you have the natural product, if you want to mass produce, you have to have a template of the natural product to make a synthetic product. Yeah. So you now have to understand that structure very well before you can even talk about the production. So it was dealing with current issues. And like he said, we have curriculums that have stood for decades.
And
they have remained.
Have become obsolete.
They've become like Methuselah. They need to be adjusted.
Okay.
Maybe not everything, but half of the curriculum should be discarded. Things that relate with current trend. You are dealing with current issues.
So they should be updated.
They should be updated to meet current demands.
Realities, okay.
Yes, current reality. It's not the one we have been doing as it were in the beginning. We are not God Alpha and Omega that does not change. We change. We are humans.
Changeable changer.
So we are supposed to change, and that is the dynamic of life. Because prior to this time, we never knew that there could be solar panels. But from the inception of life, God has always known that, because the plant makes their food from sunlight. They trap the light from the sun,
photosynthesis,
with the help of the chlorophyll there, with special porphyrin, and they make their food. It's not that man is observing and discovering it, and now using it to generate light for himself. So life is that dynamic. It's not static, because God that made us, we are yet to get to 100 of the intelligence that He has imputed in man. And that's why we must always be dynamic with our curriculum, with our behavior, looking at current trend. What is the best approach to this matter? What is the best approach to this matter? So I'm not talking about just bringing everything down. No. What can be discarded?
Okay.
Like I said, if you are in secondary school, they should not give you unnecessary numbers of subjects, 20 subjects, French, history, Yoruba, Hausa.
More than your brain can carry.
You don't need them.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley. Now, let's talk about corruption within the ranks of should I say, the academia. Sadzi, I can see you smiling and nodding your head like you have a whole lot to say. So let's get out with it.
Corruption, is there any place in the public sector where there is no corruption? Thank you. Corruption is the system.
It's not in the system, but the system itself.
It's the system. So the school or the ivory tower is just one part of the public sector that happens to
be suffering the
same corruption. Is it the law enforcement? Is it the civil service? The civil service is not civil. So I don't even think we should bother ourselves talking about corruption, because when the system is good, it will be reduced to the barest minimum. I said it, yes, the barest minimum. I said it here one time that how do you explain parents trying to lobby their way into school for their children? So if the opportunities are not there for corruption cannot thrive. Go and check your house. If you raise your chair, you must see dust. No matter how much you think you clean your house every day, the day you raise that chair, you must see dust. But what about the center? It's always clean, right? Yeah. Because broom, they reach there, so to speak, or you get to clean those areas. You see those areas that are not cleaned, they will always get dusty. So we have a responsibility to always go around and check those places. But when there are not tools, or the system does not favor those kind of checks, the dust will always remain there. And so whenever you put your hand there, whatever comes out will always be what? Dust. But be that as it may,
yeah.
It is what has come to be. But what is the way forward?
Just before we get to the way forward, and please, I need you to hold that thought, because that's exactly where I want this conversation to move next, okay? What is the way forward? Because it's easy to sit back and analyze all the problems, but we should be more concerned about the way forward, the solution to all of these problems. But that will be right after this break. Please stay tuned.
ITV, certainly the best.
All right, welcome back. This is the final lap of Flipside for today, and of course I still have my amazing and erudite gentlemen right here in the building with me, and I need us to talk about the way forward. You were actually going there before we went on that break, Favor. So tell me, what do you think is the way forward as we begin to wrap up now?
Yeah, I think mindset shifts, a very big mindset shift, will go a long way. I think the political willingness would also go a long way. And I think a lot should be done in the homes. I also think that parents should not over-push their children. In that, for example, like I mentioned earlier, there's no point taking a child who is 1 year, 6 months old to any school. There's nothing to learn.
Too young?
Too young to learn. That child, the only learning that child needs as at that time is to be with the parent, how to eat, sleep, and play. And I also think that our religious institutions do also have a lot of roles to play. They can also help. Then lastly, I don't want to point fingers at the government. I don't want to point fingers at infrastructures that are not there, because we know very well how the young people of nowadays have navigated and have become what they've become. And that's why you notice that even when we leave the shores of this country, we excel to a very great extent. Then also, how do you explain the fact that a graduate of Christian religious knowledge, or a graduate of international studies and diplomacy will still go to a bank and still get a job and still do his or her job, having not been trained as an accountant, an economist, or a banking and finance student? They still get trained, right? So that means it is not even a problem of what is being taught. It means anybody that is willing can do any job, at least at that level. So we have a lot to do. I think, like I said, it is a serious responsibility on us to shift our mindset.
It begins with our mindset. I guess that's what you're saying in essence. Now, Mr. Kingsley, I guess one of the major problems, or one of the major clogs in the wheels of progress, is the incessant strike. So what do you think is the solution to these incessant strikes in the Ivory Tower?
Well, for me, to stop strike, let the school be properly funded infrastructure-wise, let the workers be properly paid the right wage. The minimum wage is signed of recent is no longer minimum. It has outlived its usefulness, with what we are seeing now has outlived its usefulness. Then second, I want to chip a few things into what he said. People should be held accountable for their actions. You see, we have a body that actually funds most of our work, research work and training. If TED Fund sends you for a training, you must retire it. You know, you can still steal. Like you said, I said it here once. I don't believe that as it stands now, there's any will to stop corruption in Nigeria. What we can do is to manage it. So if I give you a contract based on familiarity, I should ensure you do it, even if it's substandard. The idea of you taking money, I've seen that money is taken and nothing is done and nothing happens.
Impunity.
As long as people are not held accountable for their actions, we'll remain where we are. People should be punished when necessary. Even if the punishment is mild, there should be punishment.
To serve as a deterrent.
Yes, the idea of just letting them off the hook because of their status, as long as that remains, it sends a bad signal to the upcoming generation that nothing can happen. Just if you know your way, you can find your way out. Nothing will happen. It's not true. Even the President of America is still held accountable to a large extent.
In Nigeria, it's true.
No matter how highly placed he is, he's not entirely free. He is answerable to the people.
To the people, yeah.
So we must come to that level of understanding. Okay, look at it. They've removed subsidy all this while. Do you know that they now pay more than 1.6 to 1.7 trillion? I mean, they share or disburse to 3 tiers of government every month, as against 600 and something, 700 billion they were sharing. It means they are sharing twice more than what they were doing before.
Where is it?
And let me let you know this: every governor, local government chairman are getting twice what they've got before.
All right.
And yet we are still where we are. Somebody is not doing something. Somebody is having money in his custody, is not doing anything about it, and is not held accountable. He's allowed to go scot-free.
So there has to be a culture of accountability.
Exactly. That's one of the ways we can move forward in this country. If you're not going to give me the best, don't give me a zero response. I'm giving you investment. You must show me a value for my investment.
After all, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Sir.
All right, thank you so very much, gentlemen. It's been an amazing conversation with you. We've actually been taking a look at the clarion call for reforms in the Ivory Tower. Well, I guess you've heard from the horse's mouth. They've actually said a whole lot, and I'm actually hoping that the people at the helm of affairs do the needful, and I'm hoping that they've been taking notes, just so that when it's time to do the needful, they are able to put square pegs in square holes. Well, it's been Flipside on Independent Television, and I want to say a very big thank you to my guest once again for doing me the honor of being on the show with me. Let's do this again some other time. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Harry Aigboje, and I'm saying, until I come your way again, same time, same station next week, do the right thing, stay out of trouble, and bye for now.
ITV, certainly the best.
Go ask, go for pet.
Ọba àtọ́kọ̀ ẹ̀. Ẹ̀gbọ́n ìjúwà. Ọba àtọ́kọ̀ ẹ̀.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
The Samburu dancers are highly interesting dance steps that are characterized by intense energy, vibrant attires, and deep cultural meaning. Samburu dancers are people from Nilotic alongside the Nile River of the north central of Kenya. Traditionally, they are semi-nomadic pastoralists who primarily herd cattle but also keep sheep, goats, and camels. The Samburu dance took the shape of a ceremonial display of strength, stamina, and agility for warriors, traditionally serving as a courtship ritual to attract brides and showcase marital prowess. these dances, the women wear colorful layered beads that move in rhythm, while the men often wear red or chire, representing beauty, lore, and identity. The dances are performed without instrument, but relying on powerful vocal chant and rhythmic synchronized movement. The performances are more than entertainment. They are a vital part of life, used to celebrate, specialize, and connect with traditions.
And appealing to the ear.
Boya
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe Society, amidst singing and dancing, bring the sacred leaves that symbolize good luck, blessings, peace, and prosperity. Each of the senior members of the Ihogbe proceeds to give the sacred leaves directly to the Oba of Benin, and others put theirs at his feet.